Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I know you come and you watch and you say to yourselves, what's she laughing at this time? I'm early. I'm early by a minute. But the reason I'm early is because in the last little while, more so than previously, this platform that I use to broadcast simultaneously has been changing its mind frequently, and I know it's not changing its mind for me. I know that it's going through a thing. Just that I happen to be walking in front of it when it does, or it appears to be that way. And the huge irony of me being surprised by it is that this is part of today's theme. Thanks. Okay, so I've invited a lot of people to come and check this out because I want us to grow, and I don't necessarily mean taller or this way. I want the tribe to grow so that more of us are having the conversation, because the conversation is two things. One, it's really fun, and two is it's one of those, oh, well, isn't that a good idea? Helpful. It's that. That's the whole point here. So the whole point is doing something amazing and fun and helpful. And now it's 10 o'clock, and good morning officially, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard. This is my little studio up high in the sky in Ottawa, Canada, and I am welcoming you to my videos. Today's episode is episode 291, and our purpose and our process here is to get people who are interested, people who are curious, people who are ready to say, well, what if? And here I am ready to answer exactly that. So I do these posts, these videos twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock Abbey time, which is New York time. And I try to keep them under an hour. Sometimes I try to keep them half an hour. And all I'm doing is giving us an opportunity, all of us together, to get in step with an idea. And the idea is, what if we knew we were capable of almost anything that could just make life more fun, more fabulous, and more exciting to wake up to every day? What if we knew we had the tools and we knew how to use them? That's it. And the tools and how to use them is what happens when we shift, we reset, we say, what if? That's and the concept is called Pivotry in motion. There we go. That's what I'm doing. Now, that's what I'm doing in the big picture. In the smaller picture, I'm taking a sip of coffee. So today's episode is, if it's bad for us, why do we keep doing it? If it's unhelpful, what are we doing? And I kind of think I know the answer. I'm about 99.567% sure. So I've cobbled together a couple of things to suggest to you. One of them is funny. One of them is, oh. And then the outcome is, so therefore, if this, then that, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the funny story. In the theater, in the professional theater, the process works like this. Somebody writes a play, and a theater decides to produce it. And they get a director to come in and basically pilot the process, interpret the play the way they see it working, cast the actors to portray the characters to help the plot unfold, instruct the crew on how they want all the technical support to enable the show, and then it's up to the theater to sell the tickets. And it's up to the actors to do a great job. The preliminary thing, though, is the director saying, I think it's going to go this way, and we're going to do it that way. And everybody says, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Yes, you are the person we follow. That's the agreement. You are the person we follow. And then in professional theater, once the show opens, so opening night, ta-da, once the show opens, the director is then already got a couple of other shows that have hired him or her or them. And so they say goodbye at opening night party. Thanks so much. I'll drop in when I can, and is gone. and the show is basically left to the stage manager to make sure everything continues, unfolds. So here's the story that is now kind of legend in theater. When you're getting ready to go on, or you're taking a break, or there's something to relax afterwards, there's an area in the downstairs in the bowels of a theater called the green room. It's not necessarily green, it's just called green, and that's basically the actors and the tech lounge. So it's always a bulletin board. People can leave notes to each other. So one night, a few weeks after the show had opened, the cast came downstairs after the show and found a note on the bulletin board from the director. And it said, rehearsal, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, to remove the improvements. And everybody stood there going, what? So here's what had happened. In the absence of the director, who is the person that we follow, everyone from time to time had made a slight adjustment. Some of them, usually the actors who'd been around the longest, who felt they had some kind of authority, would decide that when they come in the door, they're going to shrug because they felt that was going to work. And they did it the first night and they really liked it. They felt, this is me. This is authentic. Nobody will care. But somebody else saw them do that and said, ooh, that's interesting. I think when I come in, what I'm going to do is this. Gradually, over the course of time, every person in the show, every person on the crew, every person in the support staff made a small adjustment that they felt was harmless, but it allowed them to put their fingerprint on it, really put their signature on it, make it more their own. Okay. But if you have 30 people in a cast, and if you have another 30 people on the crew, and you have another 30 people in support mode, you have 90 small adjustments that tend to have a kind of an avalanche effect if they're not held in check. And so what you end up with is a whole bunch of people still doing the job, but they're doing so many other self-absorbed, not paying attention to what the next ripple effect is going to be from that, messing with the whole idea. Because we can only see from here, the director is hired to sit in the middle of the audience, halfway, and look at the big picture. And like a game of chess, say, if I move this actor here and I move that actor here, we won't have a traffic jam. And if I do this and I do that, and we dim the lights here, and then we raise the sound here, we'll get that effect. The director is hired to do that job. When each individual little person says, well, you know what, I've decided I'm going to lounge here, except that they lounge 3 steps to the left. And when the person comes in, still following their instructions, there's a traffic jam. And then they lose their focus, and then they have to adjust. But somebody else coming in then has to adjust. And now, blah, 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 right? It's dominoes. So when the director shows up, of course, on that Saturday and says, all right, now, I have a list of all the improvements, and this is what we're all going to do. None of them anymore, all right? Because you're ruining the show. And why? I'm only, yes. We have too many eyes who aren't dotting themselves, who aren't paying attention to all the other letters on the team. This is an effort collaboratively created, not individually stitched together. That ain't how it works. So that's the funny story. It is probably true because every show I have ever been in, I have watched, I have been guilty of making a slight adjustment. And in early days in amateur theater, I would have the director swan up to me laterwards and say, "Yeah, okay, so that thing with your hair, yeah, don't do that." Why not? Well, because you almost put somebody's eye out with your elbow when you did it, so don't do it. Good morning, Freddie. So I said, "What? Yeah, when you did that thing, and then you did this, there was right there. Did you not remember that? Oh my God." So when he stood up, yes. Oh, sorry. How could I know? How could I know? My job is my job. So when we make those adjustments, we make them with the best of intentions. We don't make them to sabotage the show. We might we might make them to upstage somebody we're getting even with. That's entirely possible. But we don't intentionally do these things to create a ripple effect. However, pretty much everything we do creates a ripple effect. If the science is true and everything is molecules, and we are all molecules, all stitched together, then if some of our molecules go over here, they're going to bump into all the molecules over there. Kind of a law, right? Kind of obvious, except that we're not thinking about that. So that's the funny story. Now, the other thing I found the other day, because I'm having a bit of a computer, what do I want to call it? Learning curve. I'm having a technology learning curve. So far, I haven't crashed, hit anything, fallen down. But the confusion on my part is an unwieldy ship to navigate because it's distracting me from what I want to do. So my tech friend who said, "Oh, for goodness sake, let me help you." Thank you. He said, quite often there's a glitch somewhere because of a reset to factory settings. And I said, "What?" And he said, "Everything you add, you get a computer, you take it out of the box, you plug it in, you put in the operating systems that you want to use, and it's built to accept that. But then we have all these options available to us. We have all of these add-ons we can use. There are things called apps. There are tools, there are programs that you can say, ooh, that looks interesting." And we may or may not be making it difficult for the computer to manage itself. We don't know until the computer says, "I don't know, and I'm going to go home," right? So, and then we have to do a factory reset. And I said, "That's a very interesting analogy. That's a very interesting, it's not even an analogy. You're telling me why I'm having a problem, but I think it's a helpful tool." So I looked this up this morning and I want to just read the quick part. Okay. So forgive me for looking away from you. A factory setting refers to the original configuration or the default settings of a device, such as a computer, a phone, a camera, a television, when we first buy it or it's first manufactured. These settings are predetermined by the manufacturer and are intended to provide a standard or optimal performance for the device. Right? They do it with the best of intentions. We get it, and then we decide to mess with it. Now, everybody's familiar with that? Good. We got the director in the play, and we got the factory settings, and the fact that we can add things that may or may not be helpful to the optimal performance of the machine. Okay. So my theme today is if something is not helpful, if something is holding us back, if something is actually causing us pain, why do we keep doing it? What the hell is wrong with us? And why don't we stop? And I'm going to tell you an interesting reason why we don't stop. Most of the time, the reason we do things that may not be optimal, that may not be helpful, is that we are following instructions that were created by people with the best of intentions to help us know where we are. Context: 3 houses down from the church, you turn left at the corner for the convenience store. The instructions that we get from the people who raise us, from the people we associate with, from the people who we look to feel safe and supported and belong among, could be messing with the original optimal capabilities of the machine, us. Many times, the reason we resist changing, many times, the reason we, oh, I know I'd love to, but I can't. Many times we go through that argument with ourselves and continue to do the unhelpful thing is because we have attached all these interesting feelings to the handoff of the instructions, to the repeated training, the lessons that we have been given when we were young, as we grew up. The lessons essentially can be found under the category, people like us do things like this. And the only thing wrong, well, there's two. The only two things wrong with that belief, people like us do things like this, is that it doesn't take into consideration that things change, expectations change, progress creates, empowers, triggers change. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, people like us is a general term. It's not the same thing as saying Abby is exactly the same and does exactly the same thing as Freddie. We are not identical. We have very, very similar appreciations for things. And we are very, very focused and excited by very similar things. And that makes us connect. It makes us similar in our goals, and it makes us similar in our purpose and our priorities. But it doesn't make us exactly the same. It doesn't make us exactly the same inside, in here, or here. It makes us interested in exploring similar paths, parallel paths that lead to a similar destination. That is the true meaning of people like us do things like this. It's not you do exactly this because I do exactly this. They're not the same sentence. They're not the same saying, and they're not the same meaning. But you know, when we're taught these things by the people who have the best of intentions for us, in a best case scenario, they were raised by people who had a clear vision and had the best of intentions for their children, and now those children have become our parents and they have a clear vision and the best of intentions for us. That's the optimal scenario. That's not the way life is, though. Really great people can get really confused. One of the one of the statements my dad would occasionally make that would just make me think, oh God. Here's a sentence. I know a shortcut. No, you don't. No. If history repeats itself, and it does, it's not shorter. Okay? It's not shorter. So when he says that, you want to be able to bind and gag him and put him someplace so he can't hurt himself or anybody else. So we don't take that shortcut. But if he said, I know a shortcut, and he meant well, and he took me on that shortcut, the two of us would be wandering in a desert forever too. And my dad was very smart and very wise and very clever and very funny and very clear in what he wanted. However, he was capable of making the most interesting oopsies, and you'd see it coming. You think, oh no, because he's in charge, right? He's the 6 foot guy, 6'5" guy in charge. So if it is a team sport and a team is made up of individuals, because a team is a bunch of eyes who choose to collaborate on a parallel path for an outcome that serves everyone. That's a team. The team buys into the idea. The individuals buy into the idea and say, you know what? And everyone aligns their individual path so that we're all headed in the same direction. And the value in that is that every individual path brings a quality of difference that flavors and layers and colors and expands and leverages the power and the creativity and the wonder and the magic. Very important. However, if it is a collective, a collaboration in getting from here to the other side, it is not helpful to deviate without telling anybody. Deviate, absolutely. That's what individual thinking and individual contribution is. But mention it at a meeting. So I'm thinking of adding this. And the reason for saying I'm thinking of adding this, I'm thinking of saying this, is that the person who's standing over there who can see a potential downfall will say, do you realize that if you add this, that could happen? Oh, no, I didn't. No, oh, thanks. Good for that, because I'm over here. And yeah, that's what the individuals collaborating is about. Greatest good for the team is the greatest good, hopefully, for the individuals if we're all there for the same reason. Hence the director coming in, looking at the play, sitting there, not telling anybody he's coming. And the cast coming downstairs and finding the note. And in fairness, some of the cast would have known exactly what they had done. Others, not so much. And when the director would say, okay, so let's go back and rehearse this. And let's do a run through. And every time you do a thing that somebody added as an improvement, we're going to stop the show. And I'm going to explain to you what you did. So we're going to be here a while. I've ordered lunch. And get it back to factory reset. Original settings. The purpose was this. Everybody's changing the purpose for themselves. We're not getting this. It might be better, but that's for another day. This is what the job is. This is where we're going. This is why we're doing it. If we see something we like, we improve, then we will discuss it. And I will say, yes, I'm pushing the button. Yes, we will add that. Well done. Thank you. That's what a team does. So if there is something you are doing in your life and it's not helpful, and when somebody helpful like me says, why do you keep doing that? And the answer inevitably is, oh, I know. It's, we've always done it like that. So it's unhelpful and stupid for a long time. I know, right? Okay, but you can change it. Well, I could. Of course I could change it. Then why don't you? Comfort zone. I don't have time to learn something new. I'm busy right now, and it's not that bad. Yes, it is. It is that bad. It's causing you all this extra work. You're punishing yourself. You're trying to pretzel yourself into a shape and into a format and into a program that it's dumb. Doesn't work. Remember, if anybody here is old enough, wait a minute. You are, some of you. You are. You are. You have to be, because I've known you a long time. If you remember, back in the day, there were televisions that you had to have an antenna on the top of it. And sometimes the signal wouldn't come in well. And so you would get one of the children to go and stand there and hold one of the antennas and move. Or, okay, lift one leg, see if that, there you go, don't move. The kid's standing there. This is not helping me. No, but I can see the game now. And now they have a story till the end of their lives talking about this thing their dad or their mom or their aunt or uncle or some random stranger instructed them to do, and they did it, and they kept doing it. Why do you keep doing it? Well, because it's my mom, it's my dad. What am I supposed to do? Okay, but don't perpetuate it. You're grown up now. This is you. This is you sending somebody to do it. It didn't help then. So what we do is this. Let's go back to the stage play. Director directs, the director leaves, the actors, the crew, the support staff all make tiny adjustments. There is a need for another person halfway through the run of the show. Somebody's sick, something. And so a new person is brought in. The new person knows nothing about the original intention. The new person comes in and observes what's going on and assumes that's the factory set and learns the story and learns why it's really good by watching and mirroring. And now you have a team member who is doing it wrong because that was what they saw. That was what they were told. That was, people like us do it this way. If somebody comes in and does a factory reset, this new person says, what are you doing? That's wrong. That's wrong. That's not how we do it. That's not how this is done. The way it's been done since I was here is not the original setting. Is it? So here's a concept. What if we gave ourselves permission to consider this? Somebody had an idea and they made an addition, a slight change to the existing equipment. Maybe the coffee tasted a little bitter and they decided to put some cinnamon in. Oh, that's pretty good. And then they just do it as a habit. Somebody comes over and says, what is that awful taste in the coffee? What do you mean? So I always have my coffee. Well, it's not coffee. There's something in it. Oh, it's cream, typical stuff, cream and sugar. No, it's something else. Oh, it's cinnamon. Okay. Can I have it without the cinnamon? Well, no, I grind it now with the cinnamon. Okay. Grinding the coffee with the cinnamon is still coffee, but you've put something new in it. If you don't like it, if it gums up the works, how do you fix the coffee maker? And how do you provide coffee to a friend who doesn't like cinnamon? Factory reset. New bag of coffee to grind without cinnamon. Put it in a different jar. Do you have to actually take the coffee maker back? Can you just clean it out and get all the residue out? Whatever it is, it's a factory reset. Why would you do that? Well, because not everybody wants it with cinnamon. Not everybody should have it with cinnamon. It kind of doesn't matter why. What also doesn't matter why is why somebody else doesn't like cinnamon. Because you know what cinnamon is? Cinnamon is a personal choice. It's not a statement that I don't like you or respect you or honor who you are and what you do. I simply don't like cinnamon. And we get the option to say, oh, okay, all right. It's not a personal judgment of us. It's not a personal judgment of our choice to add that. It is their personal choice being spoken to us. You know what? If don't go to the trouble of grinding different coffee. I'll just bring coffee. No, for heaven's sake. I'm not going to make you bring your own coffee. I've invited you over. I'll just do that. I'll do that. I'll make that for you because I've invited you. You're my friend. Everybody is a volunteer. Everybody gets to make choices. The choices are personal. The choices are simply our best way to do the thing we want to do. That's it. The best way for me, the way I prefer, if I'm inviting somebody over and I want it to be a productive time, the way I prefer to achieve that is to make coffee that they enjoy. Because if I make coffee they don't enjoy, then they have to go to a lot of trouble to enjoy our get together. And that's not why you invite people. You don't invite people to be part of your life and then say, but first you have to jump through hoops. First, you have to like what I like. You have to dress the way I dress. You have to believe the things I believe. You have to do the things I do. Then you can be my friend. Then I'm going to invite you in. It's not how it works. And if you try to make it work like that, you don't end up with a team of individuals bringing their own magic to the mix. You end up with clones. Send in the clones. And you never learn or grow or change or develop or evolve because everybody's exactly the same as you. And that's not life. That's not the world. That's not the factory plan. People don't create computers so that everybody does exactly the same thing with them. People create computers so that the people who buy the computers can do what they wish to do. And every so often, when the computer bogs down, we take it to some tech place and say, it's not working. And those people who know what they're doing look inside and say, we're going to do a factory reset. What is that? Is there anything on here that it would break your heart to lose? Pictures. Okay. We'll put those on a stick. We'll put those on a little device that saves all your pictures. Thank you. Anything else? This. Okay. After that, it's going to go back to the way it was when you took it home from the factory. You open it up, you took it from the store, there's nothing on it. We're going to put this program in and this program in. Don't add stuff unless you talk to somebody first. Okay. And then you pay money to do that. That's how that works with a computer. We've all been there. Teary-faced walking into a tech store. I don't know what it is. Right? All of us. Okay. And they fix it. And we reset. And we say, oh, wow, is that ever fast? Wow, I forgot. Was it always this fast? Yeah. Well, what slowed it down? You were making it jump through hoops. You were forcing it to pretzel itself into a shape it was never meant to hold. And while it was doing that, it was having a hard time working its magic. Oh. So here's the thing. If something we're doing isn't good for us, is unhelpful, it actually gets in our way, why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep allowing people to trespass our boundaries? Why do we keep trying to be the kind of person somebody said we should be in order to qualify to be a good this or a good that or a dutiful or a loyal or a people like us? Why do we keep doing that if it's not working for us? And it's slowing us down and gumming us up and confusing us and exhausting us and making us feel truly wretched a lot of the time. Why are we doing that? Why don't we stop? And the answer is A, we keep telling ourselves it's not that bad. If we're saying it's not that bad, it is. We don't want to go through the hassle of cleaning up and starting over. We don't want to feel handicapped to get back on a learning curve we thought we had completed. And the big one, the hidden one, the one down deep, is this feeling, and it really is a feeling, that if we betray the instructions, if we betray the person who led us, who leads us, who is our alpha, who keeps us feeling safe, if we betray their ask of us, they won't love us anymore. They won't need us anymore. And it's a small cave. And if we have no function in the cave, if we have no function in the tribe because we have upset the alpha, we can be kicked out of the cave where all the saber-tooth whatnots live. And one of them will have us for lunch. It's oversimplifying it, but that's it. Get down to the but why, and then what, and then what, and then what, and then what? And a saber-tooth whatnot will eat me for lunch. Short answer, we die. It's not true. It is, however, the way this brain that is wired to survive, that's its job, says fight, flee, freeze, hide, comply. Pick one of those. Nowhere on the list for survival, this is so interesting, nowhere on the list of survival does it say upgrade. Why not? Because that brain didn't know, doesn't know, because it's still running everything, doesn't know that there are upgrades. And so it instills, as its job is, it's part of us, it instills in us a set of if then, and there are no options. Can I have it with rice instead of noodles? Doesn't exist. So, my lovelies, if something's not working, and it hasn't been working for a while, the decision to say what if is not a betrayal. It is not a betrayal. It does come with responsibilities. It does come with ripple effects. Those can alter things. That's why people don't like change if they didn't think of it. Because somebody else thought of it, nobody mentioned it to me, now I have to deal with a rocking boat. So if you're going to change something, mention it. I'm thinking of dyeing my hair. I'm thinking of cutting my hair. I'm thinking of taking up the oboe. I'm thinking of cooking. Everybody, we'll come, we'll cook. You go sit here. Why? It's perfectly normal to evolve. Flowers start really small. Puppies and kittens start really small, and then they get bigger and bigger, and they change and they change. And when you have to clean up after them in the yard, what you have to clean up gets bigger proportionately to who they are. And we say, gosh, it was so much easier when they were small. Yes. Imagine if a pet had the idea that they were only allowed to make a mess this size in the backyard because that's what they were told, right? What the hell do they do with the rest of it? Hide it under rugs? What? We are allowed to change. We are allowed to evolve. In order for the group to manage itself as a group collectively, it's really good to mention it and discuss it rather than just do it. Having said that, there's no betrayal involved in doing it. There's none, no betrayal. If somebody says no girl in our family, no woman in our family, no boy in our family, no one in our family, no one left-handed in our family, no one that, okay, that was then. I am now. That was then. I am now. And having had all of those alterations imposed on me, I'm going to do a factory reset. Clear away all of these helpful ideas and additions and alterations. Thank you for them. Thank you for the learning curve. Thank you. I know a great deal about myself now. And I'm not going to do that anymore because that is unhelpful. We are allowed to do that. And if at any time you feel uncomfortable about it, well, there's a lot of people you can talk to. And one of them is me. Because I have been there. I am still there. We're all there. And the only difference between me and everybody else is that I'm making this kind of a path. Doesn't mean I know everything, but it means I'm thinking about it a lot. And sometimes that's a good thing for everybody. All right. Gosh, I love that theater story. The look on everybody's face. We have another day, and then we are at Thursday, and I have a very, very, very interesting thing to talk to you about on Thursday. So I really hope you come back. I really hope you're telling people that this is actually kind of a cool thing to do. I bumped into somebody I haven't seen in a long time the other day when I was out getting some groceries. And I said, I don't know, did you know that I'm doing podcasts? And she said, you know what I really like about the podcast? And I said, oh, you're watching? You're watching the videos? Sure. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I said, what do you like? And she said, okay, what I really like is I like the fact that mom is just, right there. I love that. And I love that immediately opposite mom are all the versions of you with your shoes and your hats and your crazy things. It's really, really cool to see all the sides of you. And then in front of all of that, here you are, live today. Okay, somebody, what is going on here? What is that? Well, we don't need that. It's a crazy thing. So this is what I want to say as we sign off today. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to try new things. You are allowed to fail and try again. You are allowed to believe that you're ready when you believe you're ready. And until you're ready, it's okay to be doing what you do and keep doing what you do. As long as you remember one thing, we are not born to pretzel ourselves, to scrunch ourselves, to make ourselves small in order to fit in. It's not the job. It was never the job. And it never will be the job. And because it is not the job, that's the reason it's not working. You are not the one failing. You are the one trying to create the outcome that other people want. And that's not why you're here. So you know what? If you give it a good shot and it doesn't work, all right, plan B and C. And let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, my lovelies. Thank you for watching. It is awesome when you're here. Just awesome. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. They deserve it too. And I will see you next time.